Kelly, I want to tell you something real before we get into this month. I have been working on myself intentionally, consistently for 6 years. I work out, I take my supplements. It started with therapy, reading a lot of books, going to spiritual healers. I've been working out, I take my supplements, I drink my water, I think about what I eat. 18 months ago, I started with GLP-1. I've lost 40 pounds. I mean, I have done the work. And most of the time, I genuinely feel good. I have energy. I run my own practice. I host 2 podcasts. I have 3 kids. They're all in sports right now, and I love my life. It's busy, stressful, and I love it. But what I really want to talk about this month, because even now, I have days where something feels off. And it's not physical, right? It's something deeper. And I know from my work and my own journey that there's a kind of tired that sleep cannot touch. And that's exactly where we're starting.
That is really profound, Jess. I love that. I agree. It's that the tired that sleep can't touch.
Yeah.
And, just hearing you say what you just said, I hope you also realize like how truly amazing you are and how amazing other women
I can't
out
even
there
accept a compliment. Why did I
feel
start crying?
the same way.
Like, don't compliment me. I can't handle it.
You should listen to this episode afterwards to hear what you just said. And then you might be like, that's not me. That's somebody else.
That person's cool.
Yeah. She's doing all the things.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Chasing Brighter. I'm Kelly.
I'm Jessica. And this is our Energy and Overwhelm month. And we are getting real about what actually drains us, what actually restores us, and the exhaustion that lives underneath an otherwise ordinary life. So let's go.
So let's name what this actually feels like. Because I think we've normalized it to a point where we stop recognizing it as something worth paying attention to.
Yeah.
For me, it shows up as this kind of low grade irritability or unsettling.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm functional. Maybe I don't have as much patience as I used to, but the guilt about being short burns even more energy, that's the thing. I feel like some days when I'm even short with myself, with my kids or anything else, it just totally depletes me further. And then I feel even worse. It's like this loop.
Yeah. And that loop that you're talking about, snap, guilt, deplete further, that is a feedback loop and it's not a character flaw. And I see this all the time in my practice. And obviously I experience this myself, right? And I've been talking about the things that you and I have been doing, right? Going to bed early, having a quiet evening, setting boundaries, the things that restore our physical energy. They don't always touch the deeper layer. I know I've had to learn that difference, right? And I know that's why I loved what we talked about in March about the different kinds of energy, right? And it's not just physical energy and mental energy. The end, we have all of these different kinds of energies. And there is a kind of exhaustion that lives in holding things, holding the schedule, the emotional temperature, other people's worries. And that's not on any wellness checklist that we're going to find on Instagram, right? And for me, this is so interesting as we explore the body. Healing is my hobby. I've been talking about trauma and how we hold it in our body. And so I think for me, and probably for you too, Kelly, do you think you hold a lot of this in your brain? And you don't notice how it feels in your physical body, like the emotional labor of the household?
100%. I also feel like it's sometimes where it's taking that moment to know that something isn't feeling right. And it's I'm way too, that's where I feel like there's this loop because it's all of a sudden I'm way too down the path where until I really take that moment. And so, the tricky part for me is that there's no single cause.
Right.
And it's that's where you sit and why am I feeling this way? No one is in crisis.
Yeah, you can't like
There's
pinpoint this one
Yeah,
thing.
there's no specific thing. It just sort of builds up like an accumulation. 1,000 small asks that seem perfectly reasonable on their own, but then just sort of like, then someone asks for something, one more thing, and it just, something in it just doesn't feel right. And the person on the other end, it's usually my kids, are like, what the heck? Like, you get me, like all of a sudden you're like not being nice. And I was doing the same thing I did yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like what you're saying, because it's not one thing, because it's not a crisis, I think it's hard to name. And then it's hard for us to justify taking seriously. And I totally believe this, that you can love your life and be genuinely depleted by it. I say this to myself, I say this to my clients because I really do love my life, but I know from the outside my life may look chaotic or busy, but I feel like we work really hard to have a good balance of things, but that doesn't mean it's not exhausting and doesn't take a toll sometimes where you suddenly feel totally depleted.
Yes. So what do we do with this? Because I don't want to leave people you know, sitting in this sort of like recognition without somewhere to go. Like we start to feel this, but it's like, now what?
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. I think the first thing is, and I know this is so boring and this is totally the therapist in me, but just how important it is to name it and say it out loud. Like, this is real. This is a specific thing. And this is not a character flaw, because I think so many of us go to, why can't I just handle this? What's wrong with me? Right. And they kind
Yeah.
of beat
Yeah.
themselves up about
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
And I know you and I love research and we love data. Right. And it's just one more data point, and it's like a little red flag to be like, what does the system need that it's not getting? Right. And I think that's a great
Mm,
question to ask.
I love that.
Yeah. And I think really quick, if what we're talking about today is landing for you, we made something to go with it. It's a free download called Are You Living Your Values or Someone Else's? And it's a quick values clarity guide with 5 honest questions and 5 tips for actually living more aligned. It's free when you sign up for our newsletter.
It's at chasingbrighter.com. Grab it. It's worth 5 minutes of your time.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jess. So, we want to spend this whole month unpacking what this actually looks like in practice, right? There's no
Yeah.
quick fix here, but there is a way through this, and
Yeah.
we're going to get there together.
Yeah. What are some things that you do when you feel this way? When we see, oh, something's wrong with the system, I'm feeling depleted, I need to pivot a little bit. So, what are some things that you do?
So it depends on the situation and the time of day, I would say, because lately, I know journaling is something that we talk about all the time. But sometimes for me, I find journaling to be that piece where it's like
Yeah.
all of a sudden, we talk about naming it, right? So all of a sudden for me, and for me, journaling is a myriad of different things, whether it's a
Yeah.
paper journal or even just a note on my
Yeah.
phone.
Even a voice memo.
Yes, where I'm able to kind of name it and think through it. And I think about that even when I went through my own therapy, because sometimes naming it where it's like, I'm mad. And it's like, am I really mad? Is that the word that I want to use?
Yeah.
And so like really helping me kind of explore what that thing is.
Yeah.
And, sometimes, like recently, maybe this week, I canceled plans
Yeah.
and I normally feel so bad about letting people down and like FOMO a little bit too.
Yeah.
But I've sometimes even found when I do that, it actually helps other people too, because everyone else is busy.
Yeah.
But, that moment of like really catching myself before I felt bad about doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And just really honoring, like, I have a certain level of capacity and I can only give so much. And it's not like I'm going to lose a friend, you know?
Well,
And
and
so that's been,
yeah, I
yeah.
think what you're talking about is like what we're doing, when we have been shifting about talking from midlife, but to talking to all women, and how you and I, like, we're choosing real over perfect. So perfect would be, oh, I committed to these plans. I have to do them. I said I was going to do it, blah, blah, blah. But it's like just saying no and setting boundaries. And I think like that is what we do. And it is really funny. And that's why I love when you see reels and stuff about like the difference between like your first child, your second child, etc. It's like, for Giovanni, like, we won't go to practice. We'll say he has homework tonight, he can't. And also, they change their practices willy-nilly. Like, we found out Monday there's a practice Wednesday. We already have 5 high school games this week between 2 kids. And so that just takes a lot of coordination and effort, right? We're working with all these people, making sure everyone can get to where they need to go, and then you throw something in. So sometimes we're just like, I think I think that's going to be another theme for 2026 for me, is just opting out. So I opt out. I'm not doing it. Will maybe just order in food, just have leftovers, just like take something off my plate. Talk to my partner about it. Just try, to see what I need. I think so many of us, what we do is we numb. And we numb by either scrolling on our phones, or we numb by binge watching shows. And that is not going to energize you or replenish you.
Yes.
And so I think I try to sit with it, and I think, what do I need right now that will replenish me? And so is it saying no, so I have nothing tonight and I can go to sleep early? Is it, hey, I'm going to text a friend and go have coffee with her or lunch with her Friday, and that's going to energize me and get me excited for the week? And so I think it's just kind of evaluating I love, you said this in episode, like, what will make me feel 10% better, 5% better.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, what will make me feel better right now?
Did I say that? That sounded good.
Yeah. You're so smart, Kelly. But I think
it's not that I don't remember saying those things.
I even like opt out of not going to like a kid's game or just asking for help. It's a really big deal for me to ask for help. So maybe I'm like, hey, can you take this kid to practice? Or, there's a mom where I'm like, can you just take Gio? And I like didn't do that with Gabby and Dom. And so with my third, I'm like asking for help or dropping, like we've talked before about, I've been the one mom, I've been bringing my sneakers. I'm like, let's walk during practice. What I really need is to move around and talk with someone. So I think sometimes for me, it's moment to moment on asking what I need,
Yeah, I think that's a great way. The other thing too is like, even for us at home, like we're trying to not order in so much. And so then I want to have these big elaborate meals. And it's like, how I have a lot of things I've kept that are simple meals. And so it's like, how do I make my life easier in these given moments?
Yeah. Yeah.
And also like being aware of what is taking up my brain. What are things that are weighing on me that I don't need to have weigh on me? And how do I kind of get rid of those?
Yeah.
Taking that kind of mental inventory.
I hear what you're saying. Like, not only just setting up the system, but maybe there's too much on my plate and I can take something off.
Yes. So for this week, sit with just one question, where is my energy going? And it doesn't have to be your physical, it can be your physical energy. It can be your mental energy. Where is it that energy is going? And not to try to fix it. You don't need to build some sort of plan, but just kind of be aware of it.
Yeah.
Because we really can't start that change without really seeing what that is.
Yeah. Like, you don't need to diagnose yourself as broken, right? When you feel bone deep tired this week, this is your permission slip, right? Just to kind of ask, just say it out loud and think in your head, this is information and something needs to shift, and let that be enough. I love, we're calling that your brighter move for the week, right? So your brighter move for this week, like Kelly said, is just asking yourself that question. Before we go this month, like we've told you, we put together a free download to go alongside everything we're going to be talking about in April. And it's called, Are You Living Your Values or Someone Else's? And it's a values clarity guide. 5 questions to help you figure out what you actually value versus what you're performing. And 5 real tips for starting to live more aligned.
And I want to say, this is not just one of those downloads that sits in your inbox forever. It's genuinely 5 minutes. Justin and I put a lot of work into this to really make sure it's going to be worth your time. And those questions are the kind that really stick with you.
Yeah, we made it because this is the work we're both doing ourselves. And if April has been hitting home for you, this is the next step. And it's completely free. You just sign up for our newsletter at chasingbrighter.com/newsletter, and it comes straight to you.
If you want to see what we're up to and what we're buying, thinking about, wearing, please follow us on socials at Chasing Brighter.
And next week, we're going one layer deeper. We're talking about why capable, high-functioning women keep hitting invisible walls and why trying harder is genuinely the wrong answer. It's about capacity, and it quietly reframes everything.
You don't want to miss it. See you next week.